Fort Worth.
I appreciate it.
As an experienced and well-regarded journalist, my question is fairly simple. Anywhere in your recent book, do you address the issue of the mainline media helping the evil forces, socialists, communists, or whatever you want to call them, in their takeover of our beloved country? Is that addressed in any way in this book?
To a certain extent, but not to a certain extent. The issue of the media is addressed in the book, but mostly by inference and indirection. And the reason is that the media are hugely secular today. They're overwhelmingly secular. It was not always so. The media used far better than they do now, than you and I remember, to represent mainstream American culture. They did when I got in the early 1960s, 1964. The ordinary newsman was somebody who could have probably lived next door to me. Well, nowadays he's in a condo in New York City and looks at Central Park out his window and rarely ever sees real people. Probably got his degree from has a PhD from Yale or something of the sort. But I don't denigrate any of that stuff. I simply say that it represents a removal from reality that is characteristic of elitists. There's a thread, though, that I want to address in your question that I think is important, and that is the difference between those whom we have identified as the American elites. Many of you have jobs and professions and backgrounds that might qualify you for membership in an elite. That is to say that we might probably been to a good school, good college, made some money in life, and have some cultural aspirations and participate in some reasonably artistic endeavors. But the fact of the matter is that the elite in American life has assumed direction of the American mind. People who have been to Harvard, who've been to Yale, who work in the arts, who work in foundations, who work in the media, who also work in the churches at the very top levels of the churches, have a common identity that they assert over against what they view as the kind of backwoodsy identity of people who live in places like Fort Worth and Dallas and don't really know what's going on. There's a real division here. The media reflect it, the churches reflect it. They reflect it in different ways. But there is bred in this viewpoint a kind of disdain for ordinary people who have not been to Harvard, who do not have season tickets to the New York Ballet, who do not drink the finest French wines, who do not aspire to have their children attend the finest elite schools. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, with those aspirations, but those who share them today have acquired with those ideals a kind of disdain for those who don't have them, and that's about 95% of us. And that's what you see reflected in the media, and it's what you see reflected in a lot of the conversation that you get at the top of the Episcopal Church, the top of the Canadian Church, the top of the Anglican Communion, from people who are essentially removed from the realities, that word again, that most of us face on a daily basis. Questions? Anything at all? Well, Bill, wonderful order.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we want to make sure we get told to you, is that these important issues of our church and of our future, and I mean our Anglican future. This is the first time we'll have a chance to discuss it with you. Next time, and you talked about it just a few moments ago, is the history and the tradition. Father McKeeching will be taking that on in October, and it'll be another great night. We look forward to you all joining us. Now, make sure you get a chance to get back there with Susan and Nancy. Make sure you get a book, get it signed, and we really owe him another round of